Did you know that Putin had watchers at the polls? I didn't, but I found out something about them, and I'll talk about those before we're done. So stay tuned. So there's
Okay.
two big stories today, and rather than try to do both simultaneously, there's actually three items. There's the referendum, which is what we're going to talk about in this video. There is the mobilization or mobilizing of people to run away out of Russia, which is what I'm going to talk about in the next video. And then there's everything else because a war is still going on and diplomatic things are still going on. I'm going to leave the third. I'm going to talk only about the first one. We're going to talk about what the results are of the referendum and things that you didn't count on or that we didn't expect. Okay, we're going to start here. Russia's war in Ukraine is at a dangerous tipping point. Okay, I want to start here. The referendums are illegal under international law. Everybody knows it. Even Putin knows it. All his neighbors know it. The international community has moved against him in a larger way because he's done the referendums, but he's doubling down. Putin is showing no signs that this was a mistake. He's going all in. So it's happening nonetheless. Putin is far weaker now. It doesn't look like it, but he's actually in a more dangerous, more precarious place than he was before. And that makes him a more dangerous man. We're left with a losing Putin who cannot afford to lose. Without much conventional force left, he could turn to other tools, including, and he's saber rattling about nuclear weapons. Let's keep going. ISW, the Institute for the Study of War, and their assessment. Russian authorities in occupied parts of Ukraine, Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Luhansk oblasts completed their falsified annexation referenda. Now, there's no surprise here that they received in the referendum between 87 and 99% approval of the Ukrainian residents. Now, I'm somewhat disappointed in the Russians in some places saying 99% approval. Like they should have been thinking about this and been like, there was 73% here and 84% here and 67% there, and right, because then it would have at least had some kind of face of credibility, but they can't help themselves. The Russian President Vladimir Putin will likely announce Russian annexation of Ukrainian territory. He's got a big speech coming up. It's kind of like the U.S. State of the Union kind of thing on September 30th. So that's probably where he's going to announce it. This article, the only thing I want to show is the one word swastika. I don't know why this hasn't come into the common vocabulary or lexicon, but I'm going to start using it because that's right. This swastika, this Z, that's exactly what's going on here, and Putin is proving it with these referendums. Vote to join Russia or armed soldiers will come for you. So this is kind of what it was like to be part of this referendum. The Kremlin was clearly in a hurry to claim Russia as territory before the Ukrainian armed forces liberated it because you can't have that. It's hard to have a referendum. And it's hard to have a referendum when you're occupying, but it's even more hard when the other side has that territory and doesn't want to have that referendum. Okay, so in Melitopol, the city's mayor, Ivan Fedorov, said this over 3 days. Now, again, this was before the referendum was completed. According to his information, the Russians or local collaborators were only able to find about 20% of the residents and managed to force 10% to vote for supporting Russia. But it doesn't matter how many people actually vote. They can claim that everybody did. They can claim that everybody voted for Russia. It just depends on how many people you have stuffing the ballot boxes, because that's what's important, or who's counting. In Mariupol, Donetsk Oblast, which the Russians systematically destroyed, people were reportedly enticed to vote in return for drinking water. In occupied Kakova, in Kherson, there were offers of money of 40,000 rubles. And so it goes on and on with other ways that the Russians were trying to entice the population to vote that way. But at the end of the day, even if they didn't vote, they could just make it up, and they would. Ukrainians involved in referendums face prison terms, say Kyiv. Now, the important thing of this is not that they faced people that were involved in conducting these referendums, Ukrainian citizens that were involved in conducting the referendums faced prison terms. That's not what's important. What's important is this. Russian state media, as predicted, is reporting on Tuesday that people in the occupied areas overwhelmingly voted to join Russia, which claimed polls ranging, again, 87 to 92%. I saw something in Reuters that said 96%, like a half hour after the polls were closed. Um, There have been multiple reports of voter intimidation. CCTV footage from occupied Kherson showed pollsters from the occupying authorities going door to door accompanied by armed Russian soldiers. What could go wrong with that scenario? Local people have been made to vote on behalf of residents who have evacuated. So you're voting for your neighbor. I mean, yeah. Ukrainian journalist Maxim Xtavi, sorry if I slaughtered that name, I'm pretty sure I did, tweeted that his family in southern Ukraine had been forced to vote at gunpoint. Okay, free and fair election. They come to your house, he wrote. You have to openly tick the box for being annexed by Russia or staying with Ukraine if you feel suicidal, all while armed gunmen watch you. So it's hardly a free and fair election. So these four areas that are going to be claimed as Russia now, that's what the election was like. Okay, let's look at fun with Russian state media to see what they're saying about it. Referenda in Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions are completed. The referendums in Luhansk People's Republic, Kherson, Zaporizhia, and regions have ended. Task reports. Below are the first results of the referendum. Look, the dictators can't help themselves when they say stupid stuff like this. 98%, 97%, 97%, 96%. Like, and now this is only as 18% processed or whatever, but they can't help themselves. Look, in Crimea, the vote was supposed to be 97% voted to join Russia with an 80-something percent turnout. Nowhere in the free world do you ever have a referendum that smacks of anything like that. So, and they're saying even higher numbers here, at least in the initial results. They're saying even higher numbers when it's than what happened in Crimea. Come on, in the middle of the war, when there's generational hatred that is being developed between at least a partial portion of that population in that area and Russia. Come on. Now, here's the interesting thing. The situation will change from the legal point of view, from the point of view of international law with all the ensuing consequences to ensure security in these territories, Peskov said. So Peskov's talking about how international law, it's all changed. Now it's defensive. Now it's part of Russia. But you're wantonly violating international law to get there. So, I mean, you can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. Okay, RT. Four regions vote to join Russia. What's next? The Donetsk, Luhansk People's Republics, and all of Kherson and part of Zaporite region in the southern Ukraine have voted to join Russia in referendums that were held between September 23rd. In Luhansk, over 98%. Again, they can't help themselves. In Donetsk, more than 99%. I mean, come on. Okay, so it's the same stuff. I don't need to go into the rest of the article. That's what's going on. Let's go to TASS. Over 90% of Donbass, Zaporizhia, and Kherson voters favored joining Russia in the first results. And you're going to see the same thing. Here's 98%, 97%, 97%. They can't seem to help themselves. Now, here's the most amazing thing about this TASS article, and that's this. At the very end, I saw international observers, and this is why you're supposed to watch or read the other side. Read TASS, read RT, those kind of things. International observers from Bulgaria, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Germany, Serbia, Mozambique, France, and the Central Republic, African Republic. Wait a minute, Germany and France, what? These international observers are going to be, watching, and they noted the enthusiasm of the voters. Who are these international observers? I haven't heard anything about them. So I had to go look them up, and I did look them up, and I found in Yahoo News a Ukrainska Pravda. So this is a Ukrainian article. International observers at the referendums turned out to be Putin lovers and propagandists. Well, of course. Okay, investigative journalists have said that the international observers at the Sham referendums in the occupied oblast of Ukraine have turned out to be longtime supporters of President Putin. And they actually went through one by one and in this article, and they're talking about how this journalist from the Netherlands was previously known for propaganda statements, and this guy over here, yeah, and they just went through a number of the international observers. So the referendums are a sham. We all know it. Okay, so what I hope that you understand what's going on. We're in a more dangerous place right now. What's going to happen next is that they're going to say this is now part of Russia officially, and now it's going to become a defensive war because Now we're just defending these Russian territories or these Russians in these newly formed Russian territories, and we want peace. All we want is peace. The world can have their gas back as long as we have peace, and they're going to do that kind of thing. Okay, next video, what I'm going to do is talk about mobilization. If you like this, please hit like, please subscribe if you're not familiar with me and you want to see more daily updates, but please stick around so that you can watch this next video about mobilization.